Okay, guys, so today we're going to be talking about some more Bad Girls Club content, which we all love. But today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be ranking each season of the Bad Girls Club, highlighting their pros, their cons, and I'll even let you guys know which Bad Girl was my favorite. So coming in at the number 17 slot, because we're going to do worst to best. So coming in at number 17 is going to be season 14. And honestly, if you've seen my season 14 video, you know that I just don't care for this season. It was just very boring after Jayla and the twins left, but even before then, I didn't really feel very invested in this season. I would say the best thing about this season would definitely be Jayla and the twins, and unfortunately, they do not make it to the end. So after they leave, it is very dry, very lackluster, and a big con of the season is obviously how Jayla and the twins were sent home, and the other girls and how they were, treating Jayla and the twins after they left and, gloating about what they did. It was just very disgusting to see. And even the reunion was very lackluster because the twins couldn't come and speak their part. So overall, this season really just doesn't do it for me. And in my opinion, it is probably the worst season of the Bad Girls Club. What we fucked up about? Coming in at number 16 would be BGC 1. And before you guys come at me, it's not because the season was bad or anything, but it is a victim of its time. And by that, I mean, with it being the first season and how Baggers Club was its very first season with the no fighting, it kind of left a lot of drama to be desired. There was a lot of good and interesting drama this season. There was a lot of good, interesting fights. Obviously, Ripsy, terrorizing the house, Ty beating Amy into obliteration. There was just a lot to be desired after the season because, one, the season just drags on. 22 episodes is insane. Like, come on now. And then, a lot of the interesting girls do leave the house. And they did have some pretty decent replacements as well, but it's nothing compared to what we get in the later seasons.
What was you expecting for her to do? Sit there and take it? You for real? Yeah.
But like I said, I don't think that, the season's bad. It just was not one of my favorites. And if I had to say a favorite this season, it would be Leslie. Y'all may be shook by this next pick, but coming in at number 15 is BGC 16. And for me, the season started off pretty strong. Like, it had some really good drama in the first few episodes, but it got old and repetitive very quickly. And like I said, same with season one, it just left a lot to be desired for me. Some pros of the seasons. I love the social media theme. I really did like that. Bernicia was great, loved her. And then Winter versus Persuasion was really good. It was a really cute build up. Unfortunately, production once again sends Sway home just when it starts to cook. And it just gets really annoying after that and really kind of repetitive with them, targeting Kaylee. Like, girl, she's not going to fight back. Let it go. And then Adrian calling out the producers was great to see. I loved it. Some cons of this season for me, it would be obviously Kaylee being picked on. It was just like enough is enough. Like, I'm so sick of seeing this girl get picked on and just seeing how she was thrown out like trash was kind of gross to see. And then her getting kicked in the back was really disgusting as well. And then what allegedly happened to her, I'm not really gonna go into detail about it, but there's that. And then Candy's comments about Bernicia's kids was really gross. If you've watched any of my videos, then you know that I do not like when people bring outside people into other people's beef. So with that being said, like, don't talk about parents, children, because they're not there to defend themselves and they didn't sign up for the show. And like I said, the season just gets very boring after Winter and Sway. Before I announce the number 14 slot, I wanted to say who was my favorite from season 16, and it's Bernicia without a doubt. I'm pretty sure that's a lot of people's favorite, but let's move on to slot number 14. So the season that comes into the number 14 slot would be BGC 3. And for me, this season had a really, really great start. Like, a really, really good start. Kayla and Amber going at it. The first couple episodes were really great. Amber M was just pissing everybody off. And then, Kayla was just great for season 3. Like, she was amazing for season 3. She was made for season 3. Unfortunately, she does leave the house, which, you know, it tanks this season. And then it starts to give us that Amber versus the Fab Five, which for me was a really big con for the season because it became repetitive and it became like, okay, these 5 group of girls are picking on these 2 girls. And these 2 girls aren't really doing anything because they're not really fighters. Like Amber M would defend herself if she had to, but it wasn't as if she was just like a Brie or a Rocky. She was just doing the best that she could with what she had. And Amber B was just she was just a hot, hay haired, thin mess. Like her hair was so thin, it was disgusting. And like just her comments about, minorities, it was just gross. And, I really wish somebody had popped her at least once in the season, but we can't get what we asked for. But my favorite this season was definitely Kayla, followed closely behind by Amber M. Another thing I wanted to say about the season that I felt was kind of a really big con was Cancun. If you've never seen, what happened in Cancun, pretty much Amber M gets attacked by the Fab Five, but mostly Whitney and Ilea. And Ilea kicks Amber in the face and she gloats about it. It was just probably, it was just disgusting. And this was like the first time a girl was jumped on the Bad Girls Club, unfortunately. Then number 13 on my slot would be BGC 12 Chicago. And I know y'all who loves Chicago, y'all gonna be in an uproar, but I'm sorry, this season was very stale. It was like when you leave like your bag of chips on road and you try to go back to eat them the next day and they just stale, like there's no crunch to it. Like there was no texture to this season at all. Like the season was just very repetitive. Girl, I got tired of seeing Jada get beat. It was 101 ways how Jada could get beat. Like this girl was getting tore up left and right. And the season is very lackluster when the pros of the season is Delilah, who came in with microaggressive comments towards the women of color. And, that just says a lot when the problematic girl of the season is, what we're looking forward to the season. Like, it's crazy. And for me, some of the cons would be the cast was just unlikable. Like I said in my BGC 12 video, Jada constantly being beat, like I said, and then Jonica was just so annoying, girl. Y'all already know how I feel about her. Let me not get into her real quick because I would definitely get my cake sliced and get a slice of her. But let's move on. Well, before we move on, my favorite from this season, dare I say it, nobody. Girl, when I tell y'all who about to come in as number 12 slot, y'all gonna chew me up like some leftover Thanksgiving dinner. Baby, nobody other than BGC 11. And yes, y'all already know how I feel about 11 being ranked over 12. I just think 11 had, some great first episodes. They had, a strong cast with Sarah and Mylin. And whether you like season 11 or not, there's no denying that the season is memorable, whether for good or bad. It is probably one of the most talked about seasons of the Bad Girls Club. And for me, it has entertained me a little bit more than 12. And I understand about the jumping and the bullying, and I totally understand that, and I agree with you guys. But overall, I think the season just had a little bit more of like, I'm kind of on the edge of my seat to see like what these girls who are the underdogs are going to do next. And like I said, some of the cons of the season would be the jumping and the bullying, and just the group mentality just really ruined this season. But overall, a very entertaining season nonetheless. And, it really made you root for the underdogs. If I had to say a favorite from this season, I would have to say probably Sarah. I'll just give it to Sarah. Yeah, I'll give it to Sarah. Coming in at the number 11 slot would be BGC 13. Like I said, I just did a video on this, but like it wasn't my favorite season, but it was far from the worst. It was just packed full of girls that nobody really asked for, and we were kind of tired of seeing at this point. They were shoving these girls down our throat, which really made it not unwatchable, but it really put me off towards the season because I was tired of these girls. Like I knew what they were there to work on, so it wasn't really like a surprise factor. Some of the cons of this season was that it just dies off very quickly once Natalie and Red leaves. And then Rocky and Jada were just a very annoying part of this season. And then Judy's mental health during the season was very hard to watch, especially when she had her breakdown. I thought that was really sad to watch. And once again, if I had to put a favorite for this season, it would once again be Sarah because, as I said in my BGC 13 video, I feel like Sarah was really there to try to change her image from her season, especially with the not fighting because Sarah can handle herself, but she's not Muhammad Ali now. But the girl's gonna get up there regardless. And Julie comes in as a close second because after the mass whoopings Julie got at that reunion, she didn't want no smoke from nobody coming in that house. Julie came in with a bob, and she still haven't learned to bob and weave. Coming in at the number 10 slot would be season 17. And a lot of people give this season so much slack, and I don't understand why. Like, this season is actually really good. It had really great storylines. It had great villains. Like, and then we have to remember that Brie is also on this season. Like, the season was just all around really, really good. And most of the times when there was one fight, there was a whole nother fight going on at the same time. So we got a two for one combo. I would say the only downside of this season would be Fran. Cannot stand her. She gets on my fucking nerves more than anybody that has ever been on this show. Her comments regarding to Shayla's passing was disgusting. And if you were around during that time, you remember when all the bad girls were dragging Fran. And I just did not feel bad for her at all. Like, I really wanted to get my foot up in there, but I just decided to let her get dogpiled by her fellow, cast members. And it resulted in her and Kiki actually not being friends anymore. So, there was some good that came out of it. But if I ever see her in a bar or something, yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna mean mug her. But girl, you trying to correlate this, young lady's passing to, oh well, what did she do to deserve to be shot? Like, girl, you're disgusting. But let me not ramble about her, girl. Let's move on. Then coming in the number 9 slot is BGC 15 Twisted Sisters. I really enjoyed this season. I really felt like this season was like Bad Girl, like really putting their foot in it and really stepping the game up and really giving us a good season. Yes, it was kind of like a slow burn at first. Like, the season starts off very, very slow, but like once she starts cooking, baby, she is piping hot. Like, season 15 does not disappoint, and I really, really, really recommend it if you have not seen it. Like, give her a minute to, like, put some oil in that motor, and get herself running. Because once she do, baby, she is a runner. She's a track star. Because the season is just so good. Like, the only things I didn't like about the season was like how Angela would talk to her sister, but then Christina's kind of annoying. But at the same time, nobody deserves to be degraded by their own family. The prank that they did with the twins in the handcuffs, which I talked about in my Why Twins Don't Survive in the BGC video. Also the water gun incident, I just thought that was a little tacky. If y'all wanted them out, they were already leaving, so there was nothing else you guys should have done to them. But some of the pros of this season was, obviously Jamie and Jazz. Girl, they were twerking and getting stomped out at the same time, but baby, they didn't stop twerking. Face down, yes up, girl. And Hanane and Susu, I love them. I thought they were so cute, but they gave me like kind of like the Adam Family vibes. I don't know, but I still love them nonetheless. And then Olivia and Dime Secret, girl. When I tell you my jaw was on the ground when she said, "This is my ex," I said, "Girl, what?" Like, I had to really like take a minute because, girl, they were over there rubbing kittens in the club. I said, "Girl, what?" And this is your ex, but she trying to be your sister. And I knew, girl, I knew when I saw that club scene, I said, they're not sisters. They are not sisters, girl. They almost started a fire the way they were dry humping in that club. I could not believe my eyes, girl. And then the club music was like so techno. I said, girl, it is just too much going on in the scene, and I am overstimulated. Oh my God, guys, I just realized I forgot to tell you who my favorite was for the Twisted Sister in season 17. So I'm going to start off with 17. My favorite person on season 17 would probably have to be Brie. Like, I just felt like she really gave it up. And then for season 15, my favorites would probably have to be, I'd say Hanan and Susu. But anyway, let's move on to number 8. So in the number 8 slot is ironically season 8, Las Vegas. I feel like this season has a lot of good, like, funny moments, especially with the Victor twins. I thought they were hilarious. They have Camila, which, if you know, you know. She comes in and she actually saves this season. Not that the season needed saving, but it was still good nonetheless. Amy and Jenna were also good addition to this season as well. Some cons of the season would be just the jumping. Elise's entrance, the way that Elise was treated was actually really disgusting. Like, it's still disgusting when I see it to this day. And then also, Erica and Gia kind of like flattened the season out sometime for me because Erica was just doing the absolute most in that same cream dress with them same red bottoms in them same pajama pants, spitting in people's stuff, like saying that her shoes are cheap, which we already knew when we saw in because the bottoms were peeling. And then Gia just follows anything that Erica did, which was kind of annoying to see because I was really rooting for Gia. But like, overall, season 8 is a very entertaining season. So if I had to pick a favorite for season 8, it would probably be between Jenna or Amy. Anyway, moving on to number 7, which would be season 6, Hollywood. I felt like this season was so good. If you saw my BGC Shard deep dive, then you would know like this season is criminally underrated, and I feel like it's because it's between two very, very good seasons, being season 5 Miami and season 7 Hollywood. I mean New Orleans. But this season has a lot of great things going for itself. Like Shar. and her antics. Nikki and Wilma were battling it out at the end of the season because, girl, we were waiting for Nikki to get tore up, and Wilma beat the steroids out of her. And Ashley versus Corey, like, who would have thought that two of the prettiest girls to step foot in that house would beat the crap out of each other? However, girl, I was mad that Corey waxed Ashley like that. I needed her to get another round. But the only con for this season, in my opinion, is just the amount of following was just unacceptable. Like, y'all are grown women. We're not playing Simon Says. We're not playing, red light, green light. You don't have to listen to, Charmaine. And in the end, she made them look stupid because she still came to the reunion and she stood on it. And, that's all we can really ask for. And coming in at number 6, it would have to be BGC 10 Atlanta. And before we get into this, girl, I forgot to tell y'all who my favorite for season 6 was. And that would be Ashley. But let's move on back to season 10. This season has a lot of great things going for itself. Don't get me wrong. Especially like Rocky versus Jen. Girl, that was probably one of my favorite rivalries of the series. Over a hot pocket, baby. These girls have fought about 3 or 4 times over a hot pocket, girl. Something that's gonna bite your tongue, burn your tongue when you bite into it. But anyways, Alicia versus Rocky, that was such a good rivalry, girl. Alicia just knew she was about to tear Rocky and got turned every way, girl. She was like, that hot dog that's being turned in 7-Eleven, girl. Rocky was grilling her ass outside. And then, Nikki and Valentina, their short lived rivalry was like so great to see. And then, Paula whooping on Shannon on that bed was amazing to see because y'all already know how I feel about Shannon. And then the cons for this season for me that kind of made it like low on my list was just the repetitive storyline of Shamrock being attacked. Like, okay, like each episode was like, what are we going to be mad at Shamrock for? Like, what are we going to do to Shamrock? And my only thing was they had all this energy for Shamrock, but no energy for Nancy. And if I'm not mistaken, Miss Shyfly, Nancy took your man. But like I said, the season's great. I love it. It's so nostalgic to watch. And another con would be Janae's exit and how she was treated. That is just so sad because that girl cannot fight. There was no reason for Alicia to whoop her like a sack of potatoes. And my favorite for season 10 would probably have to be, I would say, Valentina. And it's mostly because the turnaround that she did on All Star Battle, it was very beautiful to see. But let's move on to the number 5 spot. And number 5 goes to season 5. And I think the season is great. I think it really defines what the Backers Club is. It was sneaky, it was scandalous, and girl, it was just ultimately scary. Like, this season was probably one of the darkest. No, it is the darkest season of the Backers Club. And I know a lot of you have been asking me about it, but girl, I am scared to tackle this one. Like, season 5 just had too much going on. Like, too much. It's like they were injected with a bunch of caffeine and just let loose in the house. But some of the pros for this season would have to be Brandy. I love and live for Brandy. Can't wait to do a deep dive on her. Kat was great and Kristen was great too. However, Kristen just fell off my list because she just recently went in on a bunch of BGC fans. But some of the, cons of the season would be like Morgan was never feeling Morgan. Never was. Like, after everything that came out after she left, like, girl, bye. Christina's racist rant at the end of the season was disgusting. And season 5 was just too dark for me. Like, I love a little mystery, but baby, I am not Scooby Doo. I am not here to solve the mystery. Like, it was just a little bit too dark for my liking personally, to the fact that, like, girls were being sent home and, like, their exits were being staged because why they really went home couldn't be aired on TV. Have you guys noticed that season 5 is one of the only seasons of Baggers Club before streaming? So, like, people like around my age or older, when BGC used to do reruns on TV, if you guys notice, season 5 never got reran. And my favorite for season 5 is obviously Cat, but let's move on to the number 4 slot. So coming in at number 4 is BGC 2. Season 2 took everything that season 1 didn't have and implemented it in their own season. This season introduced us to Tanisha and her antics, the infamous, I didn't get no sleep because of y'all scene. And there was just so many good things about this season. Like, the rivalry between the Hyena sisters and the Party Girls were amazing. It was amazing to see. Like, they couldn't physically fight in the house, but they found other ways to like target each other, which I love to see. Tanisha going off because they like put an extra appendant on her clay boy, or they cut the bottom of her ice cream cake so it would melt. I think the only cons of this season was Genevieve's behavior. Like, why are you peeing in a sink? Like, that's just disgusting. Putting your bra inside the refrigerator. Another thing I would say is another con for the season was when Cordelia had that panic attack because of, the Hyena sisters bullying her. And, as much as I love the Hyena sisters, sometimes their behavior was a little bit much at times too. Um, it just became like, okay, like, why do you guys keep picking with Cordelia? Because, in my opinion, as much as I don't like Genevieve and I love Darlene, they never tried that with those two. Like, they would say their little smart remarks and make faces, but they never did what they did to Cordelia, to Genevieve or Darlene. And then my favorite from season two was Hannah, but coming in at number three is BGC 4. And let me just say, this season really set the standards for what it is to be, a good BGC season. Like, this season was really changing the game when it first came out. Like, if you watch seasons one, two, three, you will see there's a very big difference between one, two, three, and then once you get to four, there's a really big difference. And every season that follows four follows the same formula that four kind of like, implemented. You had Natalie Nunn, which is probably one of the most, famous bad girls to step foot in the BGC house. Um, Flo, Flo was really big back in the day. Now she keeps a more quieter life, but this season really had amazing drama, and there was really never really a stale moment in the season, obviously between Natalie, Flo, and Portia. Portia running around that house to whoop on Natalie was great TV to see, and I think this fight really showed production that, like, oh, physically fighting, that boosts ratings. Because after this, girl, production was letting them tear each other up. The only cons of this season is that after Natalie and Flo leaves, it just gets kind of boring. Yeah, they kind of targeted Kate, but Kate wasn't really doing anything until she was ready to leave. And the season just kind of gets a little stale once Natalie decides to leave the house. And my favorite from season four would probably be Flo. Let's move on to the number two slide. Y'all should already know that it's season nine, Mexico. This season was really good. It had some really good moments and some really good girls. Christina, who is literally, in my opinion, one of the ultimate bad girls of the franchise. Andrea, who is criminally underrated. Megan, like I said, if you saw my Megan video, you already know that I didn't like some of her actions in the house, but there's no denying her impact on this season and what she brought. And Erica and Julie, like, those girls were amazing on their season. I feel like the season had, some really, really good storylines. My only cons with this season was that it gets really stale after Andrea leaves. After Andrea leaves, the season dies off, which is why they brought the girls back for the finale. And then Andrea's treatment, not only from the girls on the show, but also production. Another pro of this season is obviously the reunion. Baby, karma written all over this reunion, and it was great to see. But like I said, it just dies down after Andrea leaves, which really sucks. Now, y'all should already know it's only one girl standing for that number one spot. Season 7, baby, come get your chain, honey. Like, she is timeless. Like, she's a timeless piece. Like, hang her up in an art gallery. Like, we should really name her Galleria Garibaldi, honey, because she is just the girl. Like, she is really the main girl of the franchise. Like, this season had everything going for itself, an amazing cast, an amazing storyline, like, just enough mystery, but not to where it gets spooky. We already had Judy screaming on the top of her lungs that she's going to cut people's faces off, which was amazing TV. Breakfast in Bed was great. Tiara versus Angie was amazing. And then Stassi, knocking Shelly out of the stratosphere was just amazing. Like, oh my God. Like, it's like, a fresh cup of water on a hot day. Like, honey, like, she is just so refreshing and reviving. Oh my God. Like, girl, season 7 is like the national anthem of BGC, honey. But the only con of this season would be like the reunion was lackluster, but she can do that, baby. She was clocked in the entire season. So if she wanted to take a break at the reunion, that's fine. For all my season 7 haters out there, baby, she can have a lackluster reunion. When you give it your all the first try, you don't have to try too hard because you're that girl. Like, y'all got to get off my season 7's bag. Y'all be trying to put season 9 up there with her, but baby, look at the material. That's all I got to say. My favorite from this season It's a tie between Judy, Tiara, and Stassi. But if I had to choose one, I would say Tiara. Like Tiara was just perfect. Like I would say Tiara is probably one of the best bad girls to ever grace the BGC. So there y'all have it. Those are my opinions for what the best season would be. This is not like stamped and approved that these are like the rankings. No, these are just mine. If you have anything different, I would love to see what you rank the seasons. Um, because some of y'all be having some really good valid points, and y'all be gagging me in these comments. Like y'all gotta get your foot off my neck, honey. Like I don't have a foot fetish. Get them away from me. Like what is going on with y'all? But until next time, um, I don't know what's the next deep dive, y'all. We gotta do our polls, but I'll meet y'all in the community tab.